Hello, today we're going to talk about games and education. This is going to be module 14. Everyone enjoys playing games. Games can consist of anything you can think of, whether it's tic-tac-toe, Call of Duty, or even basketball. Now in the 21st century, digital games such as video games and online games become more and more relevant. Children and students find themselves constantly online playing on their iPads, on their iPhones, on their Xboxes, on their PlayStations. Many see video games in a negative light. The question I ask you is, does the 21st century gaming that we know as video games benefit students and education today? Throughout this lecture, I'm going to run you through the different types of games in education, how gaming is involved in society and culture, the significance of it in education, and then the effect of gaming in the classroom, its effect on students, and finally its effect on teachers. So games and education. There are two types of games in education. One is gamification and one is game-based learning. Gamification is using game thinking and game mechanics to turn an otherwise mundane or boring task into something engaging, competitive, and fun. When we think of gamification, I see it as adding game-type elements to non-game situation. Uh, Through the reward system, you can earn experience points, different badges, basically different incentives to motivate the student to want to learn or complete that task. From a personal experience, for my statistics class, we do Hawks homework. And for each homework that we complete, we earn a certain badge, and the amount of badges that we gather up at the end of the year give us certain bonus points to our overall grade. That is gamification, a reward system. The other type of games in education is game-based learning. This is just the use of games to enhance learning experience. This could be different multiplication factor games. It could be Oregon Trail that we all played in elementary school, middle school. It could be a stock market game that you use for your finance class. That is an example that I have for a personal level. Both aspects enhance the student's overall experience in the classroom. Now, back to gaming as a whole. Gaming's always been popular in our society. It's pretty common. We watch sports every day. We all play video games. We all, in elementary school, middle school, went outside of recess, played hopscotch, played Foursquare. It's always been there. It's been there since forever. When the Pilgrims came over, they brought their different games. Uh, Gaming's always been around. As I said, it can take many forms. It can take form as sports. It can take form as tic-tac-toe. It can take the form as a video game. It can take the form as a crossword puzzle. And it has several purposes. One of the purposes, the main purpose being entertaining. Everyone loves games. They're fun. But also another purpose is education, which we are discussing today. Now, as it's relevant in society and very popular, it has now become a cornerstone of our society. Sports, video game, you name it. When you think culture, it's part of it. Now that we've talked about gaming in society and culture, let's talk about gaming significance in education. So, gaming in education is not new. It's been around for years. I remember in elementary school, in order to learn multiplication with 9, we played a multiplication game with our fingers. It's been around for as long as education's always been around. However, even though it's been around for a while, it has evolved. Now, just as gaming itself's evolved, gaming in education has evolved to we're now in a digital age where we're using digital games such as video games and online games. Now, the question that teachers and educators ask is how much should this online video games be incorporated in the classroom? For a personal level, last year as a freshman, I took English 1030, and we were discussing rhetoric. And our teacher, great person, very interesting teaching techniques, decided he was going to bring in his PlayStation, and we played Grand Theft Auto, which most people would react in a way like, why would you do that? That is very informal and should not be present in the classroom. However, his argument was that by playing the video game and seeing what the video game provided, we were able to have a better understanding of rhetoric and different forms that rhetoric could take. Now, addressing gaming in education. So, as I just said, we played a video game in my classroom. It's become very relevant that video games are there's becoming an increase of video games in the classrooms, and most educators question whether or not these video games can coincide with Common Core standards and typical classroom days. So, an article that I attached that I really suggest that you read, EdTech's Garrett Fuller discusses how video games and education are going to become more and more popular in the technological society that we are becoming. So I ask you as you read the article, is video gaming the future of education? Which is also the title. Now, lastly, we're going to discuss the effect of gaming in the classroom. So how does gaming fit in the changing role of the teacher, and how does it fit the student's ability to learn? Does it enhance the student's ability to learn? Is it detrimental? What do we think? So earlier in the year, we talked about the ITSE standards for teachers and students. And the first two things I'm going to talk to you about is how gaming fits for both. Regarding teachers, gaming perfectly corresponds with number one and number two, to facilitate and inspire student learning and to design and develop digital aid learning experiences and assessments. Regarding number one, it says to promote, support, and model creative and innovative thinking incentives and to engage students in exploring real world issues and solving authentic problems. Gaming does just that. I'll use the example that I had in my finance class, the stock market game. It's very hard to learn about something when you're just reading out of a textbook. This game made the concepts of the class very hands-on and made it a real-world idea. It made the concepts seem real. Um, Gaming also, through number one, promotes creativity and innovation, and that's just by making concepts more real. Now, with number two, teachers design, develop, and evaluate authentic learning experience and assessments, incorporating contemporary tools and resources to maximize content learning in context to develop knowledge, skills, and attitudes. Learning can be very boring and very straight out of the book, reading, and as I said before, mundane. By using games in the classroom, you make learning more fun and more engaging, and that's how teachers can use gaming to be an effective tool, and this fits in perfectly with this standard. Now, regarding students, there's three elements that gaming fits in. One is empowered learner, two is computational thinker, and three is creative communicator. Students leverage technology to take an active role in choosing, achieving, and demonstrating competency in their learning goals. Through games, many students learn on their own and they take the extra step to learn the next concept. Um, Computational thinkers, students develop and employ strategies for understanding and solving problems. Gaming does that perfectly by incentivizing the student to go on their own and to figure out a problem in a fun and engaging way. And then creative communicator, just by expressing themselves through a variety of platforms. One of those platforms could be a video game. Now, the changing role of a teacher. Now, in the 21st century, the common idea of a teacher lecturing behind a podium to students taking notes is becoming less and less common. Many teachers are playing videos in their classrooms, they're incorporating different digital aspects of the 21st century. Uh, Gaming, the use of gaming in the classroom has not made teaching any different, as gaming has always been involved in the classroom. However, there are different games which teachers have to adapt to. Like I said earlier, in regarding to the rhetoric lesson by my English professor, we used Grand Theft Auto, a video game that is very brass and inappropriate at some times. However, his whole idea of the lesson was rhetoric doesn't have to be good, and it can take many forms and can itself be inappropriate. Uh, so the changing role of the teacher has not decreased or been has not changed in a negative way because of the increase of gaming in the classroom. Honestly, in a joking way, it may make teachers look better as kids are having more fun. Now, lastly, how does it enhance student learning? Well, gaming can make students learn a variety of skills. It grabs their attention and keeps them engaged, which I think is the most important thing. And a learn through process. Well, as I said earlier, there are two types, game-based and gamification. The learn through process is game-based education. You learn as you're taking the game. And then the gamification, games incentivize them to learn. This in doing so through reward points, bonus points, etc. Gaming has become very beneficial to education and is now becoming an integral part of the classroom. We have to keep students engaged and motivated to learn on their own, and the best way to do that is through gaming. I highly encourage you to read the following articles that I will post regarding gaming in the classroom and to learn more about this topic.